Hello, listening audience, and welcome back to Toonkind at 12 frames per second on the Aberration Investigator server. I am your humble host, your not dungeon master today. I always go to introduce myself as your dungeon master, but I'm not today. Today I'm just one of your players. I am Whirlwind Gale. I am tired. I am also 21 now. Hallelujah. Um I am joined today by my lovely, wonderful, charming, incredible, talented, fun, creative,
Hey.
very good taste haver, um, very indulgent of me and my nonsense, uh, person who has infected me with multiple brain rots. Say hello.
Hi, my name is Avi, and I am forcibly shaking your hand. I love you so much. You are also great and wonderful and talented, and I love your art, and I love your characters. Imagine me just pouting because, wow.
Oh boy. Yep. We love each other in this server. It's great.
Yeah.
We're friends.
I don't think either of us introduced the characters we were playing.
I usually don't introduce the characters I'm playing in the introductions, but yeah. No, we are playing characters today. Avi, who are you playing today?
I will be playing the one, the only Revati, the walking talking doll question mark. Um, he's
Funny
around.
little puppet boy.
Just a little puppet boy. Just a little guy.
Just a funny little
Oh, Whirl?
son.
Uh-oh.
Hello? Can you
Hello?
hear me?
I can hear you
I
now.
can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I really need to stop messing with the USB drive. Um, it's fine. It's fine.
Holds you so gentle.
Fair warning, beloved audience. I am apparently a magnet for technical difficulties because the universe does not want to see me succeed.
Holds you.
So, be aware of that. Anyway, where is Revati trying to get to? Let's put it that way.
I want to be real, I think he was trying to get to Villestown. I know Villestown has a train station at the very least, and I know there's been mention of like a teleportation station around Villestown. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
because honestly, with what he's looking for, it makes the most sense in his mind to start at like a major location and then branch out from that area.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, starting in, let's say, Toon Town, because I think that's where you mentioned in DMs, uh, we have our funny little puppet boy. He goes to try and use the teleportation circle, expecting to end up in an urban center. That is not what happens.
Uh, right. So Revati has been having quite a bit of bad luck with teleportation circles as of late. Um,
Mm-hmm.
on his arrival to Inkwell, he ended up on someone's roof. It's normal. It's fine. Where does he end up this time?
Well, in something that, from what you've told me, is a bit of a familiar occurrence, uh, our good man here finds himself in the forest. Just surrounded by trees. Middle of absolute bumfuck nowhere, from what he can tell.
Alright. Well, Revati takes one look around and he goes, well, this is certainly not Villestown. Um, and he just kind of readjusts his capelet and starts walking.
While you're walking, why don't you roll me perception?
Oh, yes, sure. What's your perception, buddy boy? Alright, you have normal ass perception. Still rolled high on the dice, though. Jeez.
$19, not bad. All right, with a 19, you can tell a couple things about this area. For one, big fucking trees, old fucking trees. These are big old forest vibes. But there's also a sort of vibrance to this area that definitely tells you have left Giznap.
Mm-hmm.
You have left the sort of general Giznap area because their art style, for their backgrounds, tends to err more on the side of realism. Here, things seem to be a little bit more abstracted, a little bit more shapes and colors, vaguely implying, or at the very least, not vaguely implying, but more creating the general feeling of different things like trees and rocks and bushes and flowers, rather than, painstakingly drawing each leaf.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very pretty area, but this sort of abstracted art style is why the rose that pops up in your path catches your eye. Because surrounded by blocky shapes and solid colors, it looks different. It's this little pink rose that turns red towards the center, and it looks painted.
Yeah.
Another weird thing is that it's glowing.
Oh, yeah, no, he's very much intrigued by that. One thing I should say about Revati, intelligence is his best score, with modifiers from feats. It is currently, not modifiers, bonuses from feats. It is sitting at an even 20 right now.
Hell yeah, we love a maxed out stat.
He is a nerd. He is investigating that.
Yeah, so being a fucking nerd, you would also be able to note then, one other thing about this flower. Roses usually grow on bushes.
Yeah.
This is a single flower, just kind of sticking out of the ground.
Yeah, he's taking that in. He doesn't lean forward to pick it, but he does kneel down by it to get a closer look.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just, oh, that is odd. As he's kind of looking it over, deeply fascinated.
And as he kind of, leans over to take a look at it, he notices there's another one nearby. And another one a little ways away from that, in a way that they almost seem to be marking some kind of path.
Yeah, he's curious enough. He's gonna follow that. Just stands up, brush himself off a little bit because he was kneeling, and just kind of follows those flowers.
Mm-hmm. Is he trying to be stealthy at all, or?
I don't think it's occurred to him to be stealthy at this moment. He,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If up to this point he has not come across a threat or anything that could resemble a threat, he's not stealthing. I'm sorry to say.
He is so valid. So do you want to roll another perception, or would you like to keep going off of your 19?
Let me roll another perception. I think it would be funny. Oh my god, where are these good rolls coming from, buddy?
Dang. Yeah, you're a little distracted by, following the weird, glowing, otherworldly looking roses. But as you follow them, the area around you seems to shift a bit as interspersed amongst these, normal, quote unquote, normal UPA and looking trees, there are also more and more of these painted looking plants. Um, in particular, the trees start to catch your eye as in between, massive pine trees and, the classic staples of deep, dark fantasy woods. There are also strange, glowing cherry blossom trees, with vines of glowing golden berries hanging from their branches. And there are these bushes covered in these bright pink flowers that sort of decorate the path. And you realize what you're following is a path now because there is actual, like, cleared space and beaten track that you are following as it keeps leading you towards some sort of epicenter for this unique art style, from what you can tell.
I'm sorry to do this. He wants to roll like either nature or survival or something. He wants to get like more info on what these goddamn uh plants are. Uh would that be nature or survival or
I think that would be nature, given that they are plants.
okay. Well, I gotta flex this modifier now. He doesn't have proficiency in it, but either way, it's a +5.
God damn. Okay. Yeah, so these are not from here. You've This is not your first time in Einquell, from what you've told me.
More or less. He's been in Einquell for a little bit, for a little while now. I don't think he's been that far out. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
the the last time he was here, he mostly kept to Fruit Country.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Well, then let me put it this way. If these are from here, they're not like anything you've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, even with year 22, it's really kind of hard to place what they are. Like, you're looking at them up close and you can tell, these pink flowers, these are supposed to be azalea flowers. And these on the floor, yeah, they grow weird, but they're still roses. And those are probably supposed to be cherry blossom trees. But the way that they're made seems inherently at odds with everything around them in a way that implies they are not of this world. They come from somewhere else.
Sorry, my brain immediately just went otherworldly plants handshake otherworldly little guy. He's very interested and he's like keeping like mental notes of all this. If only he knew where exactly he was, man.
Well, it's not a city that he winds up coming across, but he does find a clearing eventually. And I finally get to share a picture I've been sitting on. He does, as he's following this path of, roses and flowers and whatnot, he does come across a clearing in which a small structure is built, and in which he is not the only person shaped thing anymore, as he can see two people wandering around at what at first glance looks like some sort of gazebo, maybe a shrine, maybe just a little pavilion out in the middle of nowhere, who knows. Um, Entire area is just incredibly vibrant and colorful, though. There are tons of flowers everywhere. Uh, the water in the little lake next to the pavilion seems almost a little bit more blue than water usually is. Um, and it has this reigning sense of peacefulness to it. Just this over you step into the area of this like clearing and it's just this sense of safe, peaceful. You are okay. This is a good place.
Gosh, I'm trying to figure out what he actually does in this instance. He probably just like stops for a second to look around and take it all in because oh wow. The vibrant colors and the the little pond um in the like shrine like structure. He probably doesn't even like completely register that there are other people nearby.
Mm-hmm.
At least not at first, just because of how like enraptured he is and just taking this all in.
Mm-hmm.
It's really pretty.
As the person who built it, thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you have reached location. It is not your intended location. It is really pretty.
Yeah,
What you
he
gonna do?
I think what he's going to do. The you said there were two people nearby, right?
Mm-hmm. Kind of off in the distance, like close to the structure, but not, you know, close enough that he can see them in detail. Just two small figures,
Okay. I think what he's going
um,
Ooh,
who seem to be kind of walking around. One of them is occasionally like crouching down and pressing their hands against the ground, and wherever they touch, more flowers poke up. So that's fun.
yeah, I think what he does it then is he is going to approach the structure, um, get a closer look at that. Um,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
but if there's nothing of immediate interest, I think what he's going to do, he's going to call out to the people there. I think. I think what he ends up saying, he goes, excuse me.
And as he's gotten closer, he can kind of see that these two aren't just short, they are children. And one of them, the one who is making the flowers grow, the little girl, she looks up and she's a short Frankenali toon girl with long, dark, curly hair, purple beanie, with a little queen's crown on it, um, and very vibrant purple eyes, as well as two pairs of black and purple wings and a dragon's tail. And she looks up and she kind of blinks at him, a little confused, and tugs on the other person's uh not sleeve, but the little wing on his arm floaties to get his attention. Because he was off, looking in another direction. And he also sees you, Revati, and they are both staring at you now. Kind of like they're confused how you got here. The other of the two figures is a young boy, a little bit taller than the little girl, wearing a white bone dragon mask, or dragon skull mask, with a golden king's crown in his hair, little yellow arm floaties, and bright orange and blue flower patterned Hawaiian shorts.
It's look.
It's a look, especially in combination with the black skeleton tank top.
Sorry, I have a joke. When you emo, but also ready for a fun day at the pool.
Precisely. Congratulations, you've broken this guy's style down to its bare essentials.
Revati just kind of like waves awkwardly, and he goes, I'm sorry, I'm a bit lost. Would you happen to know where I am?
And they kind of pause and they look at each other. And the little girl gets up, dusts her knees off, and reaches into hammer space. One moment.
Hammer space, roll!
Yeah, she reaches into hammer space and pulls out a bright magenta colored notebook that she flips to a blank page in and scribbles down a message, which she holds up for you to see. Which is, "You're a little ways outside of Crowhelm. Where are you trying to go?"
Crowhelm. I was trying to get to Vilstown.
They both look at each other, and the boy is going to reach into his hammer space as well. Yeah, and he pulls out a bright orangey yellow notebook and like flips through the tabs and pulls out a like map of Inkwell, and then does that thing that some people can do where they like hold a hand up to the sun and they can tell which direction is which.
Yes.
He does that, looks down at the map, looks over at the little girl and shakes his head, and she writes down, "You're going in entirely the wrong direction."
Sorry, there's a cartoon sweat drop like right over Revati's head. And he has this expression on his face, like even though he's not saying anything, you can tell that what he's thinking is, "Oh, not again."
They both kind of raise an eyebrow at him, and the little boy will flip to a blank message page and write down teleportation trouble?
Second time in a row, actually.
That just gets literally just written down, oof.
He just kind of nods at that. He has a pained expression as he just like nods. Okay.
The children may or may not be laughing at him. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
It's alright. He's used to being laughed at by children. What does that mean? Avi, don't worry about it.
This man is used to being made fun of.
is a kid's toy. Question mark.
He is possibly a kid's toy.
um, I think in that case, what he's going to do, because he handed me this question when he saw the girl like walking around and like making flowers like bloom.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think what he ends up doing, he kind of like pauses and glances back to the like structure for a second before he looks back towards the kids, and he kind of makes like a gesture towards it, and he goes, "Are you two shrine keepers then?"
They both look at each other, and you know that kind of like so-so hand gesture?
Yeah, the wavy hand gesture.
Yeah. They both like they look at each other and they like think about it and they both do the like little wavy hand gesture at each other. And then the boy will write down in his notebook, I built the structure with, or no, the structure. I built the shrine with my papa, but it doesn't really have a keeper. It's just a place to come and go.
Oh,
Uh, and the girl will write down, we spend a lot of time here though, and we like making it look pretty.
oh, is that what you were doing then? And he kind of like points to the flowers near her.
And she nods and writes down, yeah, we just planted some new seeds, so we're helping them grow a bit faster.
They're very pretty flowers.
She seems very happy with this and smiles and says, thank you.
I think he's gonna like. I think he smiles at that. Quick thing about Revati. He's still having a little bit of difficulty like expressing himself at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So even though he's smiling, his lip doesn't like his not his lip. His mouth doesn't like curl all the way that he wants it to. So most of the smile comes from the eyes.
Aw, that's cute.
um, but I think he kind of wants to investigate the structure. Actually, what he's going to do first is it all right if I look around then?
Again, they both kind of look at each other like they're waiting for the other to answer. Uh, the girl like tilts her head and the boy shrugs. And ultimately, the answer they come to is, yeah, that's fine. Just don't break anything, please.
Wouldn't dream of it. I think he's just gonna like look around inside.
Yeah. Do you want to roll investigation
Yes, don't mind if I do.
then?
Holy shit!
Oh boy.
I forgot I gave him proficiency in investigation. Not that he needs it. Why do you keep rolling so high?
He's trying to impress the small children.
I guess.
All right, let me get my notes in order. Um, so with the 27, first thing that comes to attention is looking really closely at this shrine. It's made of something a little weird. Um, because from a distance it looks like it's made of, probably marble or some kind of white stone. But as you get closer, you recognize, no, that is not stone. That is something a lot more organic. That is petrified bone.
Oh.
Petrified bone from something that must have been very, very large because these aren't tiles, these are solid pieces.
Well, that is very interesting.
Indeed. Um, and as you kind of climb up the steps to sort of the main flat area of the pavilion, you notice that you kind of at the top have to step over streams of water that are carved into the floor.
Oh,
Uh,
that is really pretty.
yeah, around sort of a fountain structure in the middle, where on top of that fountain structure seems to be some sort of little altar with a box that you can put things in. Um, there are stairs going down from all four sides of this circle thing. There are also clusters of amethyst crystals seemingly just sort of sprouting out of the floor.
Interesting.
Which, if you look over the sides, you also see veins of amethyst sort of working their way across the forest floor as well. Um, Also, pink vines, very bright pink vines hanging from the sort of roof of this thing. Although to call it a roof is semi inaccurate because it's more like a ring with just a big empty hole in the middle that you can look up through and see the sky.
Hmm.
Um, and closer up, like looking at the base of the looking at the base of this fountain altar thing, there is something inscribed there. It looks like the language structure of Common, like you know how you can identify what a language is by how its letters are grouped together?
Mm-hmm.
But the script is not something you're familiar with.
I'm trying to debate if he's nerd enough to try and like decipher it. The answer is yes, but he's been getting like really good rolls lately. So I'm like, hmm. God, what would he write? What would he do? What would he do? Um, would that just be a straight intelligence?
Probably?
Okay. Oh, there's the below average roll. Where is it? There it is.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a little bit too hard to parse right now. Like maybe if you had a guide to what each character was
Mm-hmm.
for the letters, it could be a little easier to parse out. Because again, it does look like it's probably common, but it's common in a really weird fucking font.
Yeah. Um, making me think about um dialects of languages again.
E.
um
I will give you something though, since you got a 13. It does seem to be like the script looks like a combination of the scripts used for a bunch of different languages from a bunch of different planes. It's like you took all of their scripts, all of their languages, and you simplified them down so that theoretically it could be understood from any angle.
That is really interesting, though. He. What does he decide to do? Okay, I think he's just gonna like keep a mental note of that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he's probably not gonna make much headway with that for the moment. I think he's gonna poke at the offering box. Was that it?
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's on top of the altar. It's just a little wooden box. It has a lid on it with a latch. Um, does he open it?
Um, you know, I think he does.
Interesting. Okay.
He like if there's no other way to like put something in it, I think he will.
Neat. Okay. Uh, inside currently is a little um a little leather bound book. A very thin little leather bound book. Um, and a handful of rose petals.
Hmm.
And it is at this point that I need you to roll a perception check.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's at this point you become aware of the one of the two kids from earlier, the little boy, standing right next to your elbow.
Oh, that startles him. And just go a short little jolt, and it just, oh,
The boy waves.
he gives a wave back.
And he will write down in his notebook, did you want to leave a message?
I, well, I suppose I was going to try and leave an offering, but I don't think I have anything that might be an optimal offering based on what I can see.
He nods and will pause for a bit to write a longer message. And ultimately, what he puts down is we don't really do a lot of the offerings in the traditional sense. This is a smaller version of something that existed in the place where we're from, which is more of a communication point with the deity that can visit here rather than a direct worship site.
Oh, and he kind of glances towards the box again. Yeah, he would. He asks, would it still be alright if I left anything, if I left something anyway?
Hmm. And there's like a moment of thinking before, yeah, I don't think she'd mind. She seems to like most gifts.
Alright. Um, yeah, I will roll hammer space for this just because I think it's funny. Okay, that's a 3 on the hammer space dice. Um, he pulls out a gold coin.
Ooh, shiny.
Yeah. Um, what's your little guy's passive perception?
Good question. What is your passive perception, lad? That is 15.
Okay, yeah, no, you picked this up. The gold coin in his hand. Um, it is not the a normal gold coin that you've seen in in UPA, much less Inkwell. It is solid gold, save for a vertical indentation in the middle. It's the normal Mario gold coin that you can pick up in an ordinary Mario game.
Incredible. I love that. He's just looking at it a little confused and a little bit remembering certain coins from the place where he was from, which were very similar, except instead of having an indentation on them, they had a carving of a duck.
um, I think what he ends up doing is that he kind of like before he places it, he mutters something under his breath before he places it in the box. Almost like saying a prayer, but not quite.
Mm-hmm.
But he does leave that offering there.
The little boy nods in approval, and I think it is at that point he will ask probably a very important question and just writes down in his notebook. So, who are you?
Oh, me? Well, quick question. Does he understand Celestial?
Yes, he does. They both do.
Okay. Um, in that case, this, wooden doll, he says, my name is, and the name he says is not said in common. Um, uh, you definitely recognize it as Celestial, but not a form of Celestial you have heard before.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the way he says it, it's like a mixture of Grolix and actual Celestial. It's noises that a normal mouth should not be able to make. It sounds akin to akin to sorry to bell chimes and twinkling. And he continues, but that's hard to pronounce, so everybody calls me Revati.
Um, I think hearing that combination of Celestial and Grolix, he will pause for a minute and then try to draw out what it sounds like, drawing a little star next to a little bell icon and holding that up with a question mark next to it.
I, I think he's actually delighted to see the attempt regardless. um, I think he actually, what he says, there's like a kind of like fond smile on his face before he's just, well, no, not quite actually. And you see him like almost reach for it before he realizes that, oh wait, that's your notebook.
The kid will actually like pause for a minute, take his pencil out from behind his ear, and hand both to Revati.
All right, yeah, he is going to write something down. I say write, but it's actually it's more like drawing because of the way the his name
Because
is.
it's a series of symbols rather than series of letters.
Yeah. Here's what it looks like. I'm putting it in the chat, but I'm also gonna do my best to describe it out loud. He
Hmm.
draws a star, what looks to be a circle with a sun inside of it, a club, and a crescent moon. And then he's
Wicked.
going to hand it back to him.
And he looks it over and uh tilts his head at it and then nods and writes down, "That's a cool name."
Thank you. I've had it for as long as I can remember.
And he smiles at that and writes down, um, "Mine is Charon."
Charon. Alright, it's nice to meet you, Charon. It's also
Nice to meet you as well.
It's also a cool name.
Thanks. I apparently got it from one of my papa's friends. And he points at the little girl and then writes down, "That's my sister. Her name's Thalia."
Is she still like making flowers bloom?
She was doing that. Now she's kind of just playing with the fish in the little pond. Like it looks like she had been making lily pads turn into, water lilies,
Mm-hmm.
but now she's just kind of standing in the ankle deep water, watching little fish swim around her feet.
Oh, that's cute.
She seems to have absolutely no interest in wearing shoes.
Understandable. Have a nice. Revati wishes he had shoes. Those are just his feet.
That's just him feet, Your Honor.
You can see the ball joint in his ankle and everything. That's just his feet.
Um, and as Talia notices her brother pointing at her, she looks up and waves.
And Revati will wave back.
Um, and Charon will like tap on his arm to get his attention to show him that he has written down, "Why are you trying to get to Villestown?"
He kind of pauses and thinks of how he's going to phrase this. Before he just kind of nods to himself and he says, "Well, I'm looking for something. Multiple somethings, actually. They got scattered all across Einquell, I believe. Maybe even farther than Einquell. But, I was trying to get to Villestown because I figured if I could get to a major city, I could at least find someone who might have heard of something. But I've been having, like I said, bad luck with teleportation lately."
You get a little pat on the arm. Just not like a "that's rough, buddy," just more of a "there, there."
Well, that's the way of tunes, isn't it?
He nods and then writes down, "What is it you're looking for? Maybe we've seen it."
Hmm. Do you know about the meteor shower that happened about a month ago? And you can roll history for that.
I will do so. Where is it? That's her sheet. Where's his? Oh no.
Oh no.
That's a nat one.
Oh, buddy.
To
That's
be
a.
fair, I don't think they've been here a full month yet. Like, they've only been here a couple weeks already. But he will shake his head and say, or write down, doesn't ring a bell. Hang on. And he will run over to Thalia, and we'll have her roll history as well. She got a 12.
Okay. She might have heard about it then.
Mm-hmm.
Um, with the 12, I don't know how much I can give. Yeah. Yeah, she probably just like heard about like, oh yeah, the meteor shower.
And she kind of looks over at Revati and sort of does the little so-so hand wiggle again.
All right, he kind of he doesn't look uh too excited about that. I was trying to look for a different word there for a second. Um, it's like he doesn't think that his next question will yield anything. But he goes, there was something that fell from the sky around that time, and I've been trying to look for it.
Let me check her sheet again, because I think she has something that she would try to use. Yes. Um, hmm. It would be an object familiar to her, though.
Oh, are you doing locate object?
Yeah, because she writes down in her notebook and like walks over to the edge of the little pond to show to Revati. Um, I've got dragon magic that's good at finding stuff. I could try and see if I can feel anything nearby.
Sorry, I got he got hung up on dragon magic.
Yeah, it is pretty evident both these kids look like, at the very least, dragon hybrids, if not full dragons. Because they've both got, the tails and the wings and the horns. But
Yeah,
that probably is the moment where it kind of just hits him
it's like,
of,
oh,
oh, tiny dragons.
they're just little dragons. I think or I think he kind of just nods and says, "Well, if you don't mind, I think it'd be worth a shot."
And she kind of smiles and, what does it look like?
Um, sorry, all descriptive words just left my mind.
Gotta love the ability of being prompted to just fucking eject all capability to answer the prompt out of your brain.
Yeah, hang on. He did get asked about it in a thing recently. Okay, here's what he ends up doing. Um, he says, well, they're star shaped. And he actually, like, with his fingers, kind of draws out the rough size of it, like, the shape and the size of it. It is decently sized. It's about the size of his torso.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they're star shaped. Were there were 7 of them, and they're about 7 different colors. They kind of look a bit like crystals in a way.
And she like pauses and points at the little amethyst clusters sticking out of the ground. Uh, like crystals like that?
And he makes he kind of does what they've been doing, makes a so gesture with his hand, and he's like, that but a bit smoother.
Hmm. And she will. Oh my god, I have the opportunity to do something funny here, though.
Okay.
She will reach into hammer space. See if we can do this. Yeah. She pulls out a um kind of smoothed over chunk of weird cyan rock crystal thing that is kind of egg shaped, and she like holds it up and just smooth like this.
He doesn't know what that is, but he nods.
And she nods as well, shoves it back in her pocket. Um and do you want me to, because it isn't something she's familiar with, but she has been given a description. Do you want me to maybe like roll intelligence or something to see if she can use he who funny magic spell to find something
Yeah,
similar?
that could work. It's locate object, right?
Yeah. Describe or name an object that is familiar to you. You just sense the direction to the object's location as long as that object is within 1,000 feet of you. If the object is in motion, you know the direction of its movement. The spell can locate a specific object known to you as long as you've seen it up close within 30 feet at least once. Alternatively, the spell can locate the nearest object of a particular kind, such as a certain kind of apparel, jewelry, furniture, tool, or weapon. The spell can't locate an object of any thickness of lead, even a thin sheet blocks a direct path between you and the object.
Mm-hmm. I have to do some quick visual math in my head to try and remember how much 1,000 feet is.
I think it's like a football field.
That's a.
It's
It's
333.333 yards.
yeah. So
Um,
that's 3 football fields, if I'm not mistaken, right?
maybe? Um, it's at least as tall as a certain skyscraper.
Yeah, that's about uh 2.5 football fields.
Yee.
Okay, I would say yes, you can roll it, but either way, I wouldn't expect um, anything too big.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Do you want me to roll with intelligence or with my spellcasting?
Spellcasting mod. Let's do that.
Okie dokie. The spellcasting mod on locate object is a +8. Let's. Oh wait, I have. There's a button to roll it. Technically, it's the attack roll, but
What's your um, spellcasting ability?
charisma.
Charisma? Um, Then I would do the D20 plus your charisma mod because it's not an attack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. Okay,
Yeah.
we can do a charisma roll. My dad is eating the bandwidth again. 1 second.
Okay.
Oh, that's not bad. Took a couple clicks to get it to fucking load, but this is what we got.
Oh, yellow. Okay. Thalia.
Mm-hmm.
You do feel the magic kind of working in this sense, even though all you have is a vague-ish description.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think it's anywhere near here. It is not in this area, not at least not in the area around Crowhelm.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but do I want to do some fun, funky flavoring? Is the thing.
Mm-hmm. If you'd like, I can give you the flavor of how her locate up works, and you can see if that would affect how you would flavor it.
Yes, please do.
So she kind of takes a step back, so she's out of the water and steps onto the grass and kind of digs her feet into the ground a little bit and closes her eyes. And it's like she's listening to everything around her. And she has her hands sort of out to either side of her, like she's feeling the way the air moves through the trees. It's very much a listening and feeling with the forest and the plant life around her to see if there's anything nearby that feels like what Revati is describing.
Hmm. What Revati described does seem, in a word, otherworldly. If you
Mm-hmm.
were to try to locate it with locate object, um, you don't have a doubt that it would feel like something specific,
Mm-hmm.
magical signature, uh, wise.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but you don't pick up on anything. Um, so that basically tells you it's not here and it's probably not around Crowhelm.
Yeah. And she kind of shakes her head after a minute and will write down, sorry, doesn't feel like there's anything like that near here.
No. That's perfectly alright. You don't have to apologize. It was kind of a long shot anyway.
Yeah, but sometimes long shots pay off.
I suppose that's true. Still, thank you for trying to help.
And she smiles and nods and says, of course, it always is good to help others.
And he nods in agreement with that.
Speaking of which, as you guys have been talking, sort of in the background, Charon went over to one of these weird trees that have the blue bark on their trunk and the bright pink leaves and the bright yellowy green fruits hanging from their branches. And he walks back over with an armful of what up close you can recognize as apples.
Snack time.
And he will hand one to Talia and have one for himself, and then he will also hold one out to Revati.
Yeah, he'll say thank you and take it.
Thalia like does a little happy clap before taking hers.
They're so cute.
He went and got him because he knows that doing magic makes his sister tired. So he's just like, here, you need apple.
Apple, regain energy.
Restore energy, consume fruit.
Yeah, I think Revati will take a bite out of it.
It's a little bit funny, a little bit weird, because it tastes like an apple, but it doesn't just taste like an apple. For one thing, despite it being, a relatively sunny day, if not a warm one, because, it is January,
Mm-hmm.
uh, the apple tastes like crisp cold, like you just pulled it out of the fridge.
Ooh.
Um, And while it has, the distinct flavor of apple, it also tastes like honey and a little bit like mint. It is very refreshing.
Yeah, he tastes that and kind of like looks down at it.
I mean, for all intents and purposes, looks like a normal green apple, just tastes weird.
He takes another bite.
Out of the corner of his eye, he catches Talia nod in approval.
It's a good apple.
It's a good fucking apple, man.
Nope, that was me dropping something I was fidgeting with. um, yeah. I think in that case, he's going to, take a moment and, I think he's gonna lean over to look at the pond.
Swimming around inside are a bunch of colorful little fish that share in the sort of painted art style of this whole area. And as some of them kind of dart past him, he can. It's not like, their names are written above their heads or anything, cock off, but he gets this understanding that some of them have names. Like, oh, that little pink and red striped one is named Strawberry. That orange and blue one uh, is called Waffle.
Sorry, I'm thinking about the Minecraft naming system now.
Yeah.
That is a hilarious way to flavor that.
The black and white striped one is called Zebra.
Of course.
You just know these things. And of course, there is one fish that looks very old and is named Dave.
Gotta love Dave.
But yeah, there are a bunch of just little fishies swimming around in the pond.
He's probably like chewing on that bite of apple before he swallows, and he says, "These fishes have names."
Um, Talia looks up and nods and sets her own apple sort of on the edge of the pond for a second to write down in her notebook. Well, yeah, otherwise they'd disappear.
Sorry, all I'm imagining is like a slight like sweat drop.
Gotta love Minecraft mechanics. Name your fish so they don't despawn.
I think what he ends up doing is that how it worked where you're from?
Mm-hmm. They both kind of nod, and Talia will write down. Um, if you like something, especially like an animal or something like a pet, you gotta give it a name because sometimes if you go away for a long time and your pet doesn't have a name, it just gets eaten
Mm. Hmm.
by the void.
Hmm. That's not good.
No, therefore names.
I'm agreeing with the gallery. Definitely not ominous. He's known these kids for like maybe an hour and is already learning so much about them.
They're weird little kids from another world.
You know what? He can't judge. He's not from here either. It's fine.
um Talia will, like, while they're talking, reach into the water and like scoop up a handful of water with one of the fish in it to like get a closer look at the fish before putting the fish back in the water before all the water can drain out of her hands.
Oh. He does look fascinating. I think he is going to stand in the pond. It's
Mm-hmm.
probably not great for his joints, but he's gonna do it anyway because why not?
The fish will just swim around his ankles.
He does seem like incredibly fascinated with all this. Like everything is in this like painted style. He's definitely not seen anything like it before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely unique by the standards of Einquell. This place looks more like it just came out of an oil painting rather than um looking, like it was drawn as part of the backgrounds. It has a significant weight to it that even other more painterly places in Einquell don't.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
It
some of it is a little bit odd because some of it has cleaner or sharper edges than the rest of it. Like the specific bones that make up the pillars of the pavilion seem, while still painterly, very sharp and crisp in their detail. Where other things can get a little bit more, impressionistic and, for lack of a better word, painterly.
mm-hmm. I'm trying to decide what he says because he's handing me like so many thoughts all at once.
Mm-hmm.
The nerd in him is enjoying this immensely.
I mean, if he doesn't say anything for a bit while he's just standing in the pond and watching the fish, Charon will like pause and then be like, do you want to learn how to feed them?
So you know the in his design he's got like stars in his eyes. Um,
Mm-hmm.
his face brightens at that, and there are more stars in his eyes, and he goes, "Yes, please."
And Charon will nod and hop up. And you know how I've mentioned that around this place there are these vines with like the thick green leaves and the bright glowing golden berries?
Yeah.
He like runs around to those and picks a handful of the golden berries, uh, which are like roughly the size of grapes.
Hmm.
And he will hand some of them to Revati, uh, and hold on to some of them himself and be like, "Watch this." And he picks up one of the little glowing berries and he squishes it between his fingers and drips the juice into the pond. One moment, please.
Okay. Hello, audience. Welcome to the Avi Hour, the hour where it's just Avi. Starboy's doing all right. He's honestly considering hanging around Crowham for like a good bit. He's probably gonna have to like send a letter to Mana and be like, "Hey, I got lost. I'll be back in a few days."
Okay, I got asked about grocery stuff, so we're gonna have to use your recording because that definitely did that happened faster than I could mute.
That is
Um,
fair.
my bad.
It's
But
okay.
um, Charon will take these little glowberries and he squeezes them and drips the juice into the water, and the fish all just immediately surge to the surface to start trying to nom nom the juice.
Oh, that is so cute. Yeah, Revati looks at this, looks at one of the berries in his hands, and I think he's just gonna do the same.
It's really cute. It's this like glowy gold stuff that just floats on the surface of the little pond, and the fish just pop up to nom nom on it with their little mouths.
He gets to feed fish.
He gets to feed the fish.
Um, trying to figure out. Yeah, he probably would ask. I think what he's going to do, as they're feeding fish, um, he's probably gonna look over between the two of them and ask, is there an inn in Crowhelm?
Let me ask Noodle.
I look at the gallery real quick. It's not very big, but there is one. Okay.
Um, yeah, they both like look at each other and look back at him and they nod. And Thalia, who is not having hands covered in fruit juice at the moment, will write down in her notebook. Yeah, it's not very big, but they usually have at least one room open.
Alright, he keeps that in mind. And nods. And he's like, I might have to stay for a little bit. And he kind of like, with the hand that's not covered in berry juice, kind of like scratches a finger at, on the underside of his chin. He's trying to think to himself because he definitely overshot. um
I'm pretty sure I've heard mention that there's like a road or a train station nearby, if that helps.
yeah. In that case, he might just like hang around for a bit before he heads off to Town like he was hoping to do.
And I think like Talia will make a note of, yeah, maybe it's better that you avoid trying to use teleportation twice in the same day.
He nods.
As it seems to not like you.
If it happens a third time, it's going to be a running gag.
And those are inescapable. Dun dun dun. She actually writes out the dun 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 and does a little like um one of these next to it. The dramatic frowny face.
The frowny face. Gosh, I think he does actually kind of chuckle at that. Um, okay, yeah, he is curious enough. I think after a moment, he goes, do you two know Toon Sign?
And they both kind of look at each other and look at him. And he gets like two varying versions of like no and what's that?
Hmm. How does he say this? He says, well, you both weren't speaking and have been writing in your notebooks. Toon Sign is a language that uses hands and fingers to convey meaning in words. Actually, he's gonna demonstrate. I think I have to roll a dex check because he's been in this body for a little bit now, so he's gotten some time to try and get used to it. But these are still pretty dexterous movements.
Mm-hmm.
That's nat fucking 20.
God damn. Pop off, King.
What's your dex mod? A 2. Okay. So that's 22. He lifts his hands and he as he speaks, he also assigns the words he is saying. He says kind of like this.
They are both looking at that like, ooh, cool thing. And I guess I'll have both them try to do it. Let's see. Charon first, because he's first on the thingy. Alphabet. That's what it's called. Dex, you said?
I did a straight dex check, but yeah.
Oh no.
Oh no.
That's a 5 on the dice. That's an 8.
Oh, buddy.
Charon tries, but it's like really, really clumsy. Bless him. Oh god, and Thalia got a 3.
I mean, this does make sense because if it's their first time like seeing it.
Mm-hmm. Like they both try to sign the last part of it, the like this, but it doesn't work. They're both like Charon's a little bit closer to the gestures, but it's just very clearly not the kind of gestures they're used to making.
Yeah, I think what he ends up doing is that he kind of like slows down the motion a little bit so they can actually see the like what his hands are doing, and he probably like even turns around so that he's facing the same direction as they are so they can get it like right.
Aw. That's so cute. I think like they'd both be, very determined to like keep trying until they got it.
Probably a little bit of time until they're able to sign like this.
Uh-huh. But they're trying. Bless them, they're trying.
I love them.
And I think like once they have it figured out, Thalia will like grab her notebook and write down, "That's really cool."
I'm sure a few places might have some books that you can try and learn from.
They both like look at each other, and there's like the silent conversation that siblings can have.
He's heard of this. One of his friends is Marion Mercutio.
They're like having silent sibling to sibling communication where they're just like, "Library? Yes, library. We raid the library at dawn."
Oh, I love them. Little gremlin children.
They're so sweet and wholesome, but they are still mischievous little children.
I love them. And Revati is like already fond of them. Also enamored by the fact that they seem excited to raid a library. Once again, a book nerd.
Listen, they are also nerds. Just because Charon knows how to swing a sword does not mean he is not a nerd.
Understandable, have nice. Book's good.
Book's fucking good. They both are very avid stargazers. They both like stories because they get to spend time with their dads up on the roof watching the stars and listening to stories that their dads can tell about constellations and shit. It's neat. So yeah, they are both huge fucking nerds, and they are very stoked to raid a library and learn a fun and funky language.
It's really great. I love that for them.
Everyone in this family is some flavor of nerd. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Looks at Juby, looks at one of our audience members.
Ew. That's them cousin.
I don't have much else, so I think what he's going to do, he probably is standing there for a good moment after they've managed to get the sign down. Before he kind of like sweat drops again, and he says, "Could you show me the way to Crowhound from here?"
And they both like look up at the sky and notice, oh shoot, it's getting dark, and there's the nod of yeah, we got to be back by dinner anyway. You can come with us.
Yeah, he will follow.
And I think that's probably a good place to end. Yes.
Yes. Wonderful.
That was fucking delightful. Thank you so much for playing with me.
Thank you so much for playing with me. I love that.
This
they're
was
so
fun.
adorable.
They are baby, Your Honor. All right, let's say goodbye to our listening audience. Goodbye, listeners.
Bye.